Just watching the Eastern Business Report right here on the Afia Business Morning. This week, the U.S. President Donald Trump made headlines for threatening Nigeria, tagging the country a nation of particular concern over alleged attacks on Christians. But even as the political storm swirled, Nigeria went ahead to do big business, selling $2.25 billion worth of Eurobonds to investors in the United States, Europe, and Asia. The bonds were quickly bought up, but at a higher interest rate of about 9% compared to around 6% in the past years. So what does this mix of politics, perception, and borrowing mean for Nigeria's economy and for businesses trying to survive in a globalized market? Joining me on the program to answer this morning is Nnamdi Obanya, Afia TV's political and economic correspondent. You're welcome on the program, Mr. Nnamdi.
Good to be here.
Good to have you here. So, Donald Trump on Sunday threatened Nigeria, tagging it a country of particular concern. First things first, what does this mean?
I think when we call it a threat, it scares me.
Okay.
Because he called us a country of particular concern because of alleged killing on Christians and, saying that they will take action against Islamist terrorists. Anybody who feels threatened is saying that is hinting that they are either complicit, sympathetic, or directly involved with those Donald Trump is claiming is responsible for killing of Christians. He has not asked for regime change. He has not attacked the government. He has not even mentioned President Tinubu by name. He has not even mentioned the incompetence of the Nigerian government, the weakness of our security forces. He has just said that they are non-state actors and there is a genocide on Christians in Nigeria. Now, they always say, as the shoe fits, wear it. So I don't consider it a threat to anybody who does not feel that they will be on the wrong end of U.S. action on anybody perceived to be killing Christians in Nigeria. So if you're feeling threatened by that statement, maybe a bit of self-reflection is required. Now, if you say the statement is derogatory or you feel like Donald Trump does not trust the government and you feel disrespected, that Donald Trump is saying this is happening under your watch, is different. But if you call it a threat, then you are saying that it is you he's talking about that is committing these horrible acts. So you need to go and check yourself again.
So from a business and economic perspective, Mr. Nnamdi, how does such a serious label affect Nigeria's economy and global reputation?
Now, both of them are tied together. It's just like you wouldn't go and buy things in the market where you hear they always rob. You wouldn't buy things in the market where you hear the road to the market is dangerous. For that market to attract people, they will have to make their prices very cheap, make their goods the best. They will have to offer value above and beyond what you can get anywhere to make the risk of doing business worth it. It's the same thing with a country's reputation. The lower your reputation drops, only opportunists, vultures, and criminals will want to come to your country because these are the things that circle dead and decaying things because they know what value they can get from spoils. But for serious investors, they are looking for stability because they are planning long term and they don't want somewhere that can collapse tomorrow. So when a country has a bad reputation, when you're called a country of particular concern, that is like an upgrade to one notch below terrorist states and 2 notches below a failed state. So it's very, very key. And this, of course, will affect anybody who wants to do serious, legitimate business. Only those who want to exploit you will be interested in such a market.
Amidst all of this, Nigeria went ahead to raise, to sell $2.25 billion Eurobonds. And people bought it. Investors got it. And analysts have said that because actually the rates increased. It used to be 6% to 7%, but now it's 9% and above. 9%. Analysts are saying this could be the reason investors are increasing their interest. What do you think about this?
I will go biblical and go to Hosea 4:6. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Because of all the pressure from Donald Trump, Nigeria has entered full propaganda mode, and this propaganda is trumping common sense, no pun intended. And everybody, with all due respect, is talking crazy out the side of their neck. Have you noticed with everybody making noise about it? It's government officials, party officials, people loyal to government. How many serious economists have come out and said, this is fantastic news? First of all, people need to understand that when you issue a Eurobond is a bond. Whether it's a Eurobond, Sukuk bond, a bond is just a debt instrument. When I issue a bond, I'm borrowing money from you to do something. So they tell us to come outside and clap that Nigeria has borrowed even more money. This is just after the president asked the Senate to approve extra how many trillion naira
1.5 trillion naira
of borrowing. And we're still looking for borrowing from other places. So we have external debts skyrocketing. We have the money we are paying to service debts. We have the crude oil that we're doing about, is it 200 or 300,000 barrels per day to pay loans to Afrexim Bank. And then we are now issuing bonds and we are saying, oh, people rushed for it. It's like saying, I'm so proud that when I wanted to borrow money, people came and loaned me money. That's not investor confidence. That is somebody who is sure that, you have assets that they can liquefy very quickly. People are willing to borrow money, even if you're a serial debtor. If I know that you have a house in GRA, you have nice cars, you have shares, your family has given you shares in business, you have acres of land in your village, I won't be afraid to loan you money. I'm even hoping you don't pay me back so that I can come and pick one plot of land or pick your house in GRA by going to court. So when you talk of investor confidence, you're talking of foreign direct investment. This is people bringing their money and saying, I want to invest in this industry, in this sector, in this thing that Nigeria is. Like just as we deal with agriculture, I'm bringing my money to buy farmlands or to invest in seeds or to give farmers, or foreign portfolio investment where, hedge fund managers, capitalists, venture capitalists are buying securities and buying shares and buying equity in existing Nigerian businesses. That is what you call investor confidence, not people loaning you money. Issuing a bond is a debt. What are you talking about borrowing money and saying investor confidence? That is the first quick and obvious lie that you can point your finger at when they are shouting investor confidence. So let's move that off the table. The second thing is when you're talking of the high yield, the interest of 9%, and everybody's clapping, and let's get one thing straight. The yield on a bond has an inverse relationship with the price, meaning higher yield is lower price, and lower yield is higher price. And when you see people talking of higher yield, that's a cheaper bond. So let's not pretend we went to the market with something very expensive and everybody rushed it, or it was oversubscribed. If I come to the office now with original iPhone 17 Pro Max for 100,000 naira, even those that don't have money will borrow money to come and buy. And if I have 10, 20 people who want to buy, and out of that 20, at least 5 people want to buy more than one. So it is the same thing. Let us stop pretending that value is. And there's another hidden value that, international investors too are very savvy. So they're looking at some other things. Another thing, people also have to realize that it's a 10-year tenured bond. And the yield is also directly tied to the interest rate of your country. It also has an inverse relationship with the interest rate of your country. Right now, Nigeria's interest rate is at 27. It came down briefly. 50 basis points were removed from 27.5%. In fact, it was around, I think, 11.5 when Tinubu came. It quickly rose to 14, quickly rose to 18.75, quickly rose to 27.5. When it got to 27.5, the MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, even met. I remember I reported on that then, and they had to 12-0 unanimous votes agree to freeze interest rates. Some people said it had to come down. Some people said, we can't do it. But everybody agreed it should not go higher because it was ridiculous how quickly it had gone from 11 to 27 points. From 11.5 to 27.5. Then when they brought it down briefly to 25, not even anywhere near the 18.75 it was coming from, they just brought it down to 27, from 27.5. They started throwing party and using canopy to block the road, which is a problem in Nigeria. We celebrate.
Always celebrating. Yeah,
celebrating as if we get useful. Now, this is what investors are looking at. Maybe they are saying, okay, Nigeria's interest rate went up too quickly, too fast, and maybe it's due for a dip. Now, if you subscribe a Eurobond at a particular price, right, your yield on it, you will gain more if the interest rate drops. If you want to sell it, let's say now it's at 27. If the interest rate in the country should drop to 25, this Eurobond, the Eurobond is now more attractive. And of course, by let's not wait 10 years, in the next few months, Nigeria may throw open because the DMO is always bringing out bonds for sale. Another one comes out, to sell this one you have suddenly becomes more attractive because the interest rate has gone down, the value has gone up. But if the interest rate should go up, the value will come down. So they are looking at it that because of how ridiculously high, due to all sorts of ridiculous factors that happen, currency, fuel subsidy removal, the whole economy was in shambles, how quickly, and of course the liberalization of the naira without proper thoughts, how quickly the interest rate went up. They are looking and saying, oh, we're due for a dip. So maybe when this dip happens, we'll get value. So the benefit is never for us, because we're still going to have to pay back these people. Yeah. The benefit is for the people who have subscribed to this Eurobond. So it's not as if Nigeria made money. We borrowed money. Now, this benefit for them is not for us, because, yes, interest rates coming down is good for business in Nigeria. It's one of the few positives that maybe Nigeria is looking at in the future. Maybe that's even what they've hinted to investors, that we plan to keep bringing the interest rates down. Now, if it's coming down, your your other leasing, your limited day leasing, overnight lending rates, all those things will come down with it. The problem is that the margin for the bank's benefits, which is the interest on the deposit you put in the bank, will go down too. Because if, like now, we're looking at the average interest on deposit in the bank is about 12%, and the average lending rate is so around 18% or 19%. So there's something like a 7% gap to play with in the middle. If for any reason you have to drop the general interest rate and the lending rate of banks come down, it means that your interest on deposits will go down. Now, 12% might seem like a lot on the average, but that's the average. It means there are many much lower than it. And there are places where extremely high interest on deposits are given to special legacy customers who are putting large amounts in the bank, that the bank can afford to take a little of it. So that's what might be driving up the average of the deposits, of the interest rates on deposits. But so that imagine that now, whatever little interest you're making on deposits you put in the bank, by the time you remove the electronic money transfer levy, card maintenance, bank maintenance, all those fees they charge you, you might end up not even gaining anything. I'm seeing negative balance in your account. If you're somebody who does frequent large bulk money removals from your account and bringing in like that. So it's not even good for depositors. So it's not even good for our banking industry in terms of float of cash they have in the bank. So it's not an overall great picture as they are pretending and claiming and doing as if Nigeria has done something very spectacular. The DG of the DMO, she's happy. The president is happy. Of course, Mr. Emeka Doso, CBN governor. Why wouldn't they be happy? They are the government. Party, faithful, everybody's happy. But if you really sit down and look at it critically, the real benefactors of these Eurobond issuers are those that did it. And don't forget, a 10-year tenure bond. Who is it? Will Tinubu still be here when it's the next person will be left holding the bag. So and
at the end of the day, the citizens will feel the hit.
And if they drop our interest rates to encourage people to sell so they can get better value on their money, it's the people that will buy it will still be paid back by. At the end of the day, when the tenure is over, it is still us that will pay. And where does the money come from? It's from the taxpayer. It's from me and you. It's from that pay they remove. It's from that VAT, those taxes you pay on everything you buy. The charge, that's where it comes from. So all this talk, and you're shouting, people are saying Trump's threats. No. The vultures are circling. This is not investor confidence. This is vultures and other things that eat dead flesh. They are circling a carcass. This has, in fact, the Trump effect is having an opposite effect. People are looking at Nigeria as, investors always buy the dip. Buy it when it's lowest. Before Trump comes and solves the problem and the value of this country goes up, let me come and buy now. Because if he solves the problem, Nigeria becomes stable, they start doing their refineries properly, I will now be a person who owns a stake in this country. And when that happens, when the stability to encourage more business, you bring your interest rates down, to encourage foreign direct investments, foreign portfolio investments, and as those interest rates are going down, the value of those your bonds are going up. So that's how people are thinking. So the Trump effect is not the way they are looking at it. It's not despite, it's because of. So they should be saying, thank you, Donald Trump, not Trump, see, your threat is not working. So, I'm sure there are people who would disagree with me, but logically, when you put 2 and 2 together, you get 4. I think right now, Nigeria is putting 2 and 2 together, and they're getting meat pie. totally at odds with what is happening. I don't think they know what they are saying. I think it's just propaganda. I think that Nigerians who are not educated and do not understand that a bond is borrowing. We did not sell anything. We borrowed money. It's a net negative for us. When we understand that, then maybe we will stop joining people who have sown party Ankara to make noise about things that do not actually make sense.
We borrowed money and we are still borrowing money.
We are still borrowing.
Waiting for the Senate approval in 2 to 3 days.
Yes.
We'll get the approval to know if they would actually approve the 1.5 trillion naira borrowing for the president. And my question is, why do we keep borrowing?
It's very simple now. If you have borrowed money before, you understand that if at any point what you borrowed money for does not work, you will need to borrow money to pay that money.
The president
and you get yourself in a cycle of debt. If you do business, you'll be in fact, business people run on debt, but those are calculated debts. Debts for production, debts for business. Those are calculated debts. But when you enter a cycle of debt, because you are, as Peter Obi said, borrowing for consumption. Because when they borrow all these bonds, a lot of it is lost through corruption, a lot of it is misappropriated, mismanaged. That's why we keep borrowing, because we are not producing. And our wants exceed our capital in hand, The problem we have is not a revenue problem. And I always say this, one thing that kills Nigeria is the same thing that kills many Nigerian businesses. This nonsense statement where people say the problem is not spending, it's revenue. Revenue will never be your problem, no matter your revenue, if you manage your spending. Particularly when you are not yet, particularly for new businesses and countries that are developing. Savings on expenses is when you are, is moving from cost to profit center. From cost center where you have to spend to break even, where your income can balance your needs, to profit center where you start making gain. When you are still a cost center, savings on expenses is what you consider your earnings at that point. Even at break even, any savings you can make on your expenses. So our problem is not a revenue problem. Our problem is a spending problem. There is no reason why we have government officials with car convoys in the tens. People say, 10-car convoy, 100-car convoy, 50-car convoy. Do you know how much each car costs? The cost of each car is not the problem. It takes about 100,000 to put a full tank in each car. If you have a 10-car convoy, you're using $1 million to fill your cars every day. Are you joking? And you have governors, deputy governors, president, vice president, all senators, senate president, deputy senate president, chief whip, speaker, deputy speaker, chief whip of the house, commissioners, ministers, DGs of agencies, party chairmen, all sorts of people on the corridors of powers, our defense forces, our internal security forces. You have all these people with car convoys, security, and the money is coming from the taxpayer. So our problem is spending. Wike is building houses for judges in premium areas in Abuja. It's a spending problem, and you are borrowing money. We don't have any industry that is doing all these things. Most of the things you use are imported. Much of the expertise is imported. The naira is about 1,400 to the dollar. We don't even have the purchasing power. And you think our problem is revenue? So it's a big problem, and anything they are saying is just deflection.
The government says this particular borrowing would be used to fund the 2025 budget deficit. What do you think about that?
Out of respect, the phrase I wanted to use is that they are moving mad, but I won't use that phrase. I won't say it. I won't say the government is moving mad. Rather,
well, you just said it.
I said I won't say it. Rather, what I will say is that for them to be talking about using it to fund the budget deficits is outrageous, considering that the Nigerian budget is predominantly recurrent expenditure and not capital expenditure. Majority of our budget goes on recurrent expenditure, salaries, wages, allowances, the cost of running government, not capital projects. They're not using, if they said this particular thing is to fund the Eastern Railway line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, bam, I'm happy. You know why? Because by the time goods start moving, even Cameroon, Niger, Chad, all of them will become our customers. Agricultural produce will move up and down, oil will move up. Things will happen along that line. The railway line itself will make money. The businesses on it would have ease of logistics. Transport costs will go down. Cost of goods locally will go down. There will be more produce for exports. Perishable goods will not damage on the road because the road is bad and trailers are sleeping at Uromi Junction for 10 days. Then I will know this is a government that is serious. But the budget that you are financing is a budget that is heavy on recurrent expenditure. So using it to finance a budget deficit. Is basically telling us that they are going to buy new jeeps and put new prayers in the emails of senators, to make sure that some bills are passed. And this comes at a time where they are still going to impoverish more Nigerians with their new tax bill. So I think that Nigerians sometimes need to stop reading the posts of government lackeys and paid agents on social media and in the mainstream media and do their own research and talk to economists and even understand even basic definitions of what these things are. SS3 economics will prevent many Nigerians from clapping from some of the madness and the atrocities we commit in the name of governance in this country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nnamdi. Our time is fast spent. But before we let you go, I mean, you said a lot. You believe that the statement from the U.S. President Donald Trump wasn't or isn't a threat to Nigeria. In that regard, what should be done? What should the Nigerian government do about this?
The U.S. is simply saying, come to the table and let's solve this problem. Any sensible Nigerian government, and it was shameful that at the time they made this statement, Nigeria didn't even have an ambassador to go for a quick meeting in the U.S. No ambassador has been appointed. So nobody could even go for a quick meeting, So this statement, any responsible government by now would have made links, even if it's not president to president, would have been, Nigerian force, the heads of our forces with the Pentagon immediately and say, look, this is what's happening. Let's do some quick intelligence sharing. You might be afraid to give us what you have because you are compromised. Let's give you what we have. Look at this. This is open the channels of talks. Start to do things. Don't just say, every day on newspapers now, you open particularly papers like Daily Trust, you say, 1,000 bandits killed, 500. No. They have told you there's a problem. Go and address that problem. How many people have gone? We've been seeing the pastors, the priests, the communities that are complaining. Where is the presence in those communities? Why have we not seen the Nigerian government go in there and say, we have put a temporary barracks in this area and to shield these people off? We are helping people return to farms. We have sent money to rebuild their homes. We have given these people money. We have done this. We have done that. We are guaranteeing this. We are passing a new law, making religious persecution capital punishment, punishable by death. If you stone somebody to death for blasphemy when they are not a Muslim, you will be killed. If let us now see proper action. Then people will say, they are serious. But the same people who are saying, like, I hate the fact that I have to keep bringing up this clown's name, Bashir Ahmad, the former special advisor on digital media to Buhari. But the same person talking, the US is the same person that said he supports death, or he supports the death of people who blaspheme. When the young lady Deborah was beaten badly and burnt alive in Sokoto, these same people who come online supporting not constitutionally based death penalty, because in your constitution you have laws that say if you molest a child, death penalty, I wholly support that. If you are found guilty of murder of innocent people, death penalty, I fully support that. Premeditated, pre-calculated, cold-blooded murder or murder for hire, that I totally support that. If you're a serial rapist, you've raped more than 3, if you've raped one person, life imprisonment. If you've raped 2 or 3, death penalty. I totally support, because those are secular capital punishments. But when you bring in your own religion and say crimes against your religion, not against anybody, death penalty, and you say you are a secular country respecting the rights of other religions, you are a joker. So these are the issues that need to be really addressed. Because there is no Christian law that forbids Muslims from doing anything. Do you know that? There is no Christian law. And even the traditional worship laws only apply within their areas of operation. If our worshippers cannot come and tell you what to do in Enugu, the same way Zemo cannot give instruction in Lagos. So why would somebody say because they have a mosque in Ebonyi, they must have Sharia there? These are the issues the world is talking about. We keep being told, Sharia is not for Christians, but people who have been killed, stoned, beheaded are not Muslims. These are the real issues the US wants addressed. And if you feel threatened by it, then you're a sympathizer, collaborator, or you're complicit in terror activities. And that is the honest truth we need to tell ourselves.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nnamdi, for joining us on the Eastern Business Report today.
Thank you.
And that's the much we can take on the STEM Business Report today. Until I see you tomorrow again for another edition of the Afia Business Morning, I am Marvellous Apuamaga. Coming up next is Afia. See you tomorrow.